You can think of it in one of two ways. You can either think of it as subtracting powers, meaning here we have 5 over 7, x to the 3 minus 7, right? I'm subtracting y to the 4 minus 8, and that would give you 5/7 x to the -4th, y to the -4th. You can think of it in that form. Okay? If you thought of it this way, you would then, if you're writing these with no negative powers, you would write it as a fraction. Your numerator, only factor in the numerator is 5, because the 7, the x to the 4th, the negative power moves the base to the denominator, changes its sign. Y to the -4th moves the base. Y to the denominator changes the sign. And so this would be the simplified form for that. Now I said there's two different ways you can think of it. You can think of it as subtracting powers. You can also think of those powers as canceling. So you could think of these 3 factors cancel with 3 of these, leaving 4. These 4 y's cancel with 4 of these, leaving 4. And that gives you your answer a little more directly. So most students will probably think of it as canceling factors, but it is still the subtraction property that we talked about up here. So in this example, the second example here, y to the 0 has a value of 1, so you can disregard that. But here, this 2 x's cancel with 2 of these, leaving 4. And so you get your answer 1 over x to the 4th, y to the 7th. Again, canceling the factors is probably a quicker or more efficient way to approach it. Right? Question? Oh, no. And then if you're dealing with negatives, right, the negatives aren't going to specifically cancel, but the negatives will move from the denominator to the numerator or numerator to the denominator. So if we look at something like this, the x to the 0 cancels. This y to the -2 gets moved up here, becomes y squared. This y gets moved up here, becomes a y to the 1. This x gets moved up here, becomes x to the +7. So if you move all of those, get rid of your negatives first, and now you can either cancel or combine. So here I'm going to take this 12 x's here, cancel with 12 from up here, so it cancels with all 7 of these plus 5 of these. And now that leaves me with my remaining value. I have x squared. When I multiply my y's, I add their powers. So I have 2 plus 6 plus 2 plus 1. So that gives me 8, 9, 10, 11. And that would be my simplified form.